Greetings, dear subscribers and casual listeners of my channel. Have you ever thought about what would happen if Voldemort had an heir? What if the Dark Lord and his most devoted follower, Bellatrix Lestrange, secretly had a child, a sorceress as ruthless and powerful as them both? In today's video, you will find out the shocking truth about Delphi, Voldemort's hidden daughter, and the last hope of the Dark Lord's legacy. Voldemort and Bellatrix were two of the most feared figures in the entire Harry Potter saga. He was the Dark Lord, a ruthless tyrant obsessed with blood purity and willing to sacrifice anyone to achieve his vision of a wizard-dominated world. She was his most loyal Death Eater, standing by him even when others abandoned him, carrying out his cruelest orders without question. But in the midst of war and chaos, they did something no one expected. They had a child. Her name was Delphi, and her existence changed everything. How could such a union even be possible? Bellatrix's obsession with Voldemort was no secret. For years she worshipped him, blindly following his every command. But Voldemort, a man incapable of love, never reciprocated her feelings. Born under the effects of a love potion, he lacked the ability to truly care for anyone. Yet, during the final years of the war, Voldemort realized one thing. His bloodline, one that traced back to Salazar Slytherin himself, would end with him. And that was something he could not allow. Perhaps that's why he chose Bellatrix, a pure blood witch from the prestigious Black family, to carry his heir. And so, in secret, Delphi was born. But what made her so dangerous? Delphi's story is told only in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, a controversial addition to the saga officially recognized as canon by J.K. Rowling herself. According to the play, Delphi was born in Malfoy Manor just before the Battle of Hogwarts. After Voldemort's downfall, she was hidden away, raised by a woman who cared for her only in exchange for gold. She grew up alone, abandoned, and full of questions. That changed when her mother's husband, Rodolphus Lestrange, escaped from Azkaban. He revealed the truth. She was the daughter of the greatest dark wizard of all time, and her destiny was to bring him back. Delphi's plan was as brilliant as it was terrifying. She manipulated Amos Diggory, Cedric's grieving father, using his pain to gain access to Harry Potter's son, Albus. Through lies and deception, she convinced him and his best friend, Scorpius Malfoy, to steal a time turner. The goal? To rewrite history and prevent Voldemort's death. Her mission led to a chaotic spiral of alternate realities, near successes, and shocking twists. She fought fiercely, demonstrating abilities beyond ordinary magic. She could speak Parseltongue, fly without a broom, and duel multiple opponents at once. She was powerful enough to defeat Harry Potter himself in combat. But even she was not unstoppable. In the end, it took the combined strength of Harry, Albus, Ron, Hermione, and Draco to bring her down. And even then, it was no easy battle. Delphi was ultimately imprisoned in Azkaban, her dreams of reviving Voldemort crushed forever. Even behind the cold stone walls of Azkaban, Delphi refused to believe it was the end. She had spent her entire life preparing for this mission. To fail now, to let her father's legacy fade into nothing, was unthinkable. She would find a way. She had to. The darkness of the prison was suffocating. Dementors no longer roamed its halls, but their absence didn't make the fortress any less dreadful. The walls whispered with the suffering of those who had come before. Most prisoners surrendered to madness or despair. But Delphi was different. She wasn't just another criminal. She was the last hope of the Dark Lord. She replayed the events in her mind, every spell cast, every word spoken, every moment when victory had been within her grasp. If only she had acted faster. If only she had seen through their tricks. If only she had been stronger. But regret was a weakness, and weakness was not something she could afford. Time had always been her greatest enemy. She had tried to rewrite history, but fate had been cruel. The timeline resisted change, as if the very fabric of reality rejected her father's return. But what if there was another way? She thought of the prophecies hidden deep within the Department of Mysteries. Ancient predictions, some never heard, some never understood. Did one of them speak of her? Had she missed something vital? The thought sent a shiver down her spine. For months she waited. Days blurred together. The guards paid her little attention. They thought she was broken, just another prisoner, doomed to rot away in solitude. Let them think that. Let them believe she had accepted defeat. It would make her next move all the more unexpected. And then one day she heard the whisper. It wasn't the wind nor the murmurs of distant prisoners. It was something else, something old, something powerful. Not yet. The words sent a chill through her. She sat up, her breath shallow, her pulse quickening. Was it real? A trick of the mind? Or was there someone reaching out to her? The Dark Lord had left no written instructions, no final plan, but he was not a man to leave things to chance. Delphi refused to believe he would allow his legacy to vanish. If he had foreseen his downfall, would he not have created a failsafe, something hidden, waiting to be discovered? She spent hours, days, weeks, searching her memories for clues. Her mother had never spoken of a plan. Rodolphus had told her only of her lineage, nothing more. But what if the truth had been hidden elsewhere? And then she remembered a name, a place. Nurmengard. The fortress once ruled by Gellert Grindelwald. A prison built for his enemies, later turned into his own cage. A place of power, of darkness, of secrets. Had Voldemort left something there? A relic? A spell? A fragment of himself? No one knew what had become of Nurmengard after the fall of Grindelwald. It had been abandoned, forgotten. But Delphi had read enough about the dark arts to know that places of such history did not simply fade into obscurity. Magic lingered. Whispers remained. The problem was getting there. She was locked away, cut off from the world. Her wand was gone, her allies scattered. But she was not without resources. In Azkaban, alliances were currency, and Delphi was a master of persuasion. She studied the other prisoners. Some were broken, lost in their own minds. Others were bitter, clinging to dreams of revenge. And then there were those who had been powerful once. One name stood out. Corbin Yaxley, a former high-ranking Death Eater imprisoned after the Second Wizarding War. Once a man of influence, now a shadow of his former self. But Delphi saw something in his eyes, a spark, a hunger. She approached him carefully, speaking in riddles, offering nothing but questions. She let him come to the conclusion himself, let him wonder if there was still a purpose to his existence. And when the time was right, she planted the seed. What if it isn't over? Yaxley was wary at first. He had seen many false prophets, many fools who claimed to have answers. But Delphi was different. She spoke with certainty, with conviction. She knew things no ordinary witch could know. She never revealed everything, only enough to keep him curious, enough to make him listen. And then one night a storm came. The sea roared against the prison walls, and the guards were distracted, reinforcing spells against the wind. It was the perfect moment. Delphi and Yaxley had planned for weeks. Every detail accounted for, every risk measured. The escape was not flawless, but it was enough. When the alarm bells rang, the two of them were already gone. They disappeared into the shadows, leaving Azkaban behind. But freedom was only the beginning. The world had changed. The Death Eaters were no more. The Ministry had grown stronger. Harry Potter and his allies were watching for any sign of darkness returning. Delphi could not afford to be reckless. They moved in silence, traveling by night, using forgotten paths and hidden spells. Nurmengard was their destination. Days passed, then weeks. When they finally reached the ruins of the fortress, Delphi felt it immediately. Power. It hummed in the air, a deep, pulsing energy, as if the very walls remembered what had once been. She stepped forward, her fingers brushing against the cold stone. And then she heard it again. The whisper. Stronger this time. Not yet. A test, a challenge, a promise. Something was here, waiting. Delphi turned to Yaxley, her eyes gleaming. We are not alone. The ruins of Nurmengard held secrets, secrets she intended to uncover. And when she did, the world would tremble once more.